Now this is embarrassing. WCCO CBS News Minnesota posted on X, Trump falsely accuses Harris of donating to Minnesota Freedom Fund, bailing out dangerous criminals. A community note was added that read, on June 1st, 2020 at 3:34 p.m. Minnesota time, very specific, Kamala Harris tweeted, if you're able to, chip in now at the Minnesota Freedom Fund to help post bail for those protesting on the ground in Minnesota. But to add to the embarrassment, that very news station even asked Kamala Harris about it years before.
The Minnesota GOP is holding a press conference this afternoon to criticize you for your support a couple of years ago, before you were the vice president, for something called the Minnesota Freedom Fund that was really set up to help those who were arrested in the aftermath of the George Floyd riots, help them get out. It's since been sort of morphed into something else and has been used to help people get out who've been accused of many other crimes. Do you have any thoughts about this?
Well, first of all, I am a child of parents who marched for civil rights in the 1960s in America. And I have always been and will always be a supporter of peaceful protests.
Ah, yes, the good old fiery but peaceful protests. Remember those?
For the first time in 164 years, the governor of Minnesota is now fully mobilizing the National Guard. Protests erupting in Minneapolis last night, the powder keg of the crisis. Businesses set on fire as rage continues to boil over for the death of George Floyd while in police custody.
This is mostly a protest. It is not, generally speaking, unruly.
Overnight, growing national unrest. In New York City, dozens of looters seen kicking in windows and breaking into stores across Midtown Manhattan. Macy's iconic flagship ransacked. Reports of fires set inside.
They're not going to stop. And this is a movement, I'm telling you. They're not going to stop. And everyone beware, because they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day. And everyone should take note of that.
In New York, this police car in flames. Authorities clashing with protesters, making 150 arrests, charging one woman with attempted murder for throwing a Molotov cocktail at 4 officers.
The arrest of a former Minneapolis police officer for the murder of George Floyd, failing to stop another night of rage in that city. The governor fully mobilizing the National Guard for the first time in U.S. history. The protests continuing this evening. These pictures coming in right now from Los Angeles. Police pushing back crowds using batons and firing rubber bullets. A patrol car on fire. And in Philadelphia, police vehicles torched as the crowd swelled.
Kamala Harris is going to have a tough time pushing back on this one.